giving distance where you need distance, close the gap when you need to close the gap. Don't lean on me when I'm taking you over. Just relax. The hardest part, I think, is to slow down and relax.
Yeah.
And once you got that, the rest pretty much will fall in place. So that's just some of the stuff that we go over here, and a lot of the guys are getting it. And as you said, they've been on Raw and SmackDown, and they work some of the shows around here, and they're getting some experience, and they're being proactive too. They're in the gym. They're making videos. They're promoting themselves, trying to be creative. They're not all going to be great, but that's the way you learn. You try it this way, then you say, let me try it another way. And then you find your niche, and then you keep on changing, keep reinventing yourself. And so far, we've only been in business. We're going on our second year now, and I think we've done pretty good. We've got a pretty good track record, and Glenn comes by once in a while, checks on everybody, and it's a pretty good setup. So,
well, hey,
so far.
We've talked about how great it is, and it's in Knoxville, but we haven't narrowed it down. If people want more information on how to come to what will soon be the Harvard of pro wrestling, what's the website? What's all the information?
Well, the website is jpwrestlingacademy.com, and we have all our information on there. For you can fill out an application, you can find out anything you want. If you have a question, you can email us. It's jpwrestlingacademy@gmail.com. I usually answer the questions about training, and anybody is welcome to come by, sit in and watch a class. We just had someone come by this week, actually. It was Tuesday night, come to think of it, and sat in, watched the class, said, I thank you very much. I'll be in touch. Didn't say I'm going to come train, but at least you can come in and see what we do. And that's the good thing about this.
You may have scared him off.
Well, you know what? I really don't change my training techniques for guests. And if they didn't like my style, that's okay too, because I really do. And I'm not, you're right. I don't badger, although I can. But I try not to make it a habit, especially when I'm seeing someone struggling. If you're honestly struggling and it's just something that you can't get, I get that. But if I see a guy who, isn't, in my opinion, isn't putting forth his best effort, that's when I really have to see if he wants this or not. And that's when I take that velvet glove off, and I have to find out what you're made of.
You slaps him.
I do. But no, I don't. I really don't. But
what's his name? Wait a minute. What's his name? The Lucha Brother guy takes his glove off, and that should be Dr. Tom's gimmick now.
Oh Jesus, no glove off. But yeah, if you can't take me telling you or correcting you, how are you going to take the real world? Because I don't want to just yell and scream and throw fits. That's not productive for me. It's not productive for anybody. But we do make an effort, because I know when people come to wrestling school, what do you expect? Well, you want some results after you're done. We do a 12-week course. After 12 weeks, are you ready to be headline in Madison Square Garden? You're not ready to set up the ring yet, but you can learn. And that's from the ground up, learning how to set up the ring and learning how to keep things clean, just learning habits when you start in wrestling, being on time, paying attention, learning the details. And what we do in the ring, actually, and you're well aware of this too, is a minuscule part of what this business really is about. And I talk about that as well when we come to class, because if anybody's made mistakes in this business, I certainly have. But I've learned from my mistakes. I just know I'm cut from this cloth, and this is how I am. I know now that training is it's an acquired taste. Not everybody can train people. Not everybody wants to train people. And sometimes you get into it and you go, "Oh my God, what are we doing? Why?" and I've done that a couple times, saying, "What in the living hell?" And then again, I go back to the satisfaction part and the the gratifying part is when you take someone who knows absolutely nothing and you see a light bulb go off when they can do at least 2 moves that they had no clue how to do, and it was totally screwed up before, but they do 2 moves the way you wanted them to do it. And that, for me, again, I'll give them credit for that. I know they've got a long way to go, but that's where I see, okay, now it's paying off. So here at JPWA, we want to pay off. We want to help people get booked. We want to help people get into wrestling if that's what they want to do. It's a hard gig, but at the same time, it was. I think, again, back when I broke in, back when you broke in, you had to know somebody who knew somebody, or you had to finagle your way in. You had to find a way in. There wasn't a wrestling school on every corner. We talk about Glenn, the Knox County Mayor, Glenn Jacobs. Kane went to Florida to train with the great Malenko and lived in his house, and he got a job, and because he really wanted it. And he trained.
He went to Puerto Rico, and he really had to want to live down there. And then we got him. Dutch said he's about to go crazy. He has to come back to the States.
Right.
And,
I mean, that's
he followed it. Followed it.
Perfect example. Yes, for following his dream, and that's, if you really want to do this. And we've had a couple of people this past year who are showing me they really want to do this and follow their dream and pursue it. And we're helping as much as we can. We'll do everything we can. So, I know what it's like to want to do this. I know what it's like for people to tell you can't do it and you'll never do it. I understand that. I was told my whole life, but I also understand what it takes to make that initial break in. And because I understand that, when people come to me and I know they're nervous, and I'm not going to yell and scream, I'm going to try and make them feel at home. I'm going to try and make them feel that this should be fun. It is not easy. It can be simple, but it's not easy. Simple part: fall down, fall on your back, kick your legs up, slap the mat. Simple, right? Well, no. If you've never done this, you need to tuck your chin. You need to hit the mat. You need to bend your knees. There's little things that people don't think about. How do you do an arm drag? How do you grab a headlock and take somebody over without killing him or yourself? Little things that we talk about and the details.
Basically, you teach people to not be a menace to themselves or the public when in the process of perpetrating professional wrestling.
Correct.
That's what you're doing.
This is correct. Correct.
Hey, and speaking of perpetrating professional wrestling, you are going to be at an event coming up on February the 7th down there in Knoxville. That's a kind of a benefit and a tribute to, like we did with Bobby Eaton in December, this time for Tracy Smothers, who everybody knows has, at this point now, has been diagnosed with cancer and is undergoing some treatments. And there's going to be a few people on the show there, and you're going to be managing, I think, though, correct?
Well, this is correct. It's actually in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which is about 30 minutes out of Knoxville, with KFW, Ken Folk Wrestling. Tommy Henry promotes that down there at the, it's a recreation campground. It's a great building right off the Parkway in Pigeon Forge. And yes, it is February 7th, and I'm doing a podcast with Tracy before the show, too. I'm going to manage Devin Driscoll, Mick Drake. They're known as the Industry, along with Shane Andrews against Kenzie Page, Henry, King Shane, and Ricky Morton, with Tracy in their corner. So I will be in the opposite corner of Tracy Smothers. And let me just say this. Tracy and I have a long history. I've known Tracy for a long time, over 30 years, as have you. And we all know Tracy. I remember watching him wrestle a bear backstage at the Birmingham Fairgrounds and taking the bear down. And I'm going, what in the hell is going on here? But that's Tracy.
He's wrestled 3 bears in his life, 3 different bears. As Tracy Smothers wrestled.
Yes. Well, I saw one personally backstage at the fairgrounds, and the bear was getting hot. Tracy was taking him down on the concrete. But we've all known Tracy as the wild-eyed Southern boy. He's a guy who's loved the business his entire life too, and we Tracy and I have had our ups and downs and go-arounds and things like that. And so have Ricky Morton and I too. And Ricky's always said, you can't be in this business for over 30 years and not have a couple fuck yous go along the way. So I get that. And it hasn't been any serious fuck yous, but I remember a night coming back from a town somewhere in Smoky Mountain, and it was Brian Lee and me, and Tracy and I had gotten, I don't know even what it was about now, whatever it was. But,
it's in the Battle Royal, something happened in the Battle Royal.
Well, it was something was said and something was done, and I knew I could be a jerk and I could be I could be that smart ass, and Tracy wasn't having any of it that night.
Well, now wait a minute. Here, the honest to God, the thing was back in those days, again, that phrase. But the dressing rooms were separate, the heels and the baby faces. So people had been firing Tracy, because Tracy can be wound up. If you get to him right, it can be fun to watch him get wound up. Somebody had wound Tracy up about something that you had no idea was going on about. I don't even remember what it was. And then the Battle Royal was like, oh, yeah? And then here we go.
Yeah. So I was actually in that Battle Royal. I told the guys, just let him get it out right now. Let's do it in the Battle Royal. They said, no. And they pulled him aside. I said, man, because I didn't want it to fester. I just wanted, if he's going to get me in the Battle Royal, let's do it here. Punch me in the face, whatever you want to do. But on the way home, Brian Lee and I saw Tracy riding with the rock and roll, and I said, pull him over, by God, pull him over. I may or may not have had one or two beers. Hell, I don't know. But I think we all did. And we got out, and Tracy and I had words, but not real words. I think we were just cutting a promo on each other. And all of a sudden we commenced a fight and a rumbling in the grappling in the gravel. And here's a true story. We didn't really, it was like two guys locking up. And when we did that, it was like, wait a minute, nobody wants to fight here. I sure as hell didn't want to fight him. I didn't want to fight Tracy. I don't think Tracy wanted to fight me. I think Tracy knew in the back of his mind that I really meant no disrespect or any harm to him at all. Look, Tracy, I know people like him throughout this business. We've all been there. I mean, and he was ready to go, but thank God he didn't really want to kill me. But in the process of this night, two girls stopped. This is along the freeway now, and two girls stopped.
Well, now wait a minute, Doc. You're being generous that this was the freeway. It was Eastern Kentucky in the 1 o'clock in the morning, so it was more like the side of the road rather than the freeway.
Well, it was the side of the road, but I guess it was the 4-lane road that we got off on.
Highway 23 or whatever.
Well, Highway Route 1463, 7.5. Anyway, but these girls actually slowed down and stopped to look at Tracy and me, commenced to doing whatever we were going to do. And Ricky had a few choice words for him, and they went on their way. And not 10 seconds or however many seconds went by later, here comes blue lights. And Tracy stops. He goes, hey, you got kids, I got kids. I don't want to go to jail tonight. Do you? I said, no, Tracy, I don't want to. So the cop comes over and says, what are y'all doing? And we said, oh, we just playing on the side of the road. We're working on some stuff. We're wrestling. He said, all right, well, you got 30 seconds to get out of my county. Okay. So we all got in our car. So yes, sir. And came home. So, I mean,
he believed that you guys just at 1 o'clock in the morning you decided to pull over and work out some spots on the side of the road in Pixley County, Kentucky.
Whether he believed it or not, he just said you got 30 seconds to get the hell out of it, because I don't think he wanted to go anywhere else either. But we left, and the next day everything was fine because, I apologized to Tracy. Said, look, man, whatever was said, and it was said out of just being an idiot and just being like whatever I was being that night, and I don't even recall. But anyway, so I know about Tracy's wild-eyed streak. But I'll tell you one thing: on February 7th, I ain't gonna give him no quarter. I ain't gonna give him much, Jim. I'll tell you right now. I might just go over there and pop him in the face. No, I sure as I won't do that, because I know I don't care. I don't care how sick he is. I don't care how whatever condition he is. I don't think Tracy'd back down from anybody. So
no, and he's got that stick too. He's got that stick.
Yes, he does. He sure does.
And I want you to hold up, though, for the heavily bodies, because those thugs were probably, the thugs, Tracy and Tony. T is for terrible, yes. H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, because a thug can't spell.
Can't spell. That's true. That is true. But it's going to be a fun night either way. It'll be good for Tracy and all.